What's up, everybody? We're gonna talk PFF All-22 draft stuff right now because I'm a little bit blown away. This is my first PFF draft. I took a bunch of time, got to know the rules, really did a bunch of spreadsheeting to prep for this draft, and it is not going the way I thought it was going to. And I think it might be because folks didn't sit and really internalize stuff. So I'm trying to understand why some of my opponents are making the decisions they're making. And I'm like, maybe they just don't get it, or maybe there's something I'm missing. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. So I'm gonna share some of the work I did here. And basically, where I wanted to start was with understanding the positional weighting. So I know that quarterback is going to be the most weighted. And so I wanted to make sure I was drafting my QB1 first, and I figured I'd go to the edge in round two, grab my QB2, grab my edge two, because those are just so statistically significantly higher than, I mean that 1% difference for a wide receiver, sure, whatever, but 9 to 6, 9 to 5, like those are significant. And I know the way they broke it down is so that you would, when you're drafting, you're basically going to be drafting like you would be if you were truly doing a startup as an NFL franchise. So you're looking, the positional weight is for a reason, basically. And then I've got the snap minimums over here. Um, just as a reminder to myself, one thing important to note that I started playing around with the different types. It should be schemes. I didn't finish editing this, but basically playing around with what scheme I might want to be drafting for. And this is actually not true that it's optimal for points, but it might be optimal for depth. And this it will be optimal for points in the long run because of substitutions and whatnot. Wide receivers ultimately weight a little more than if you like look at tight ends down here at 3.39. Two running backs. I mean, running backs are 3.44. So if I'm building out, I'm prepping to build out a three wide receiver scheme just because ultimately then I have a deeper wide receiver um bench that's gonna be good. But I mean I could draft two top tight ends, but look at their weight, why would I do that or just draft? Then I could start my two wide receivers at that 5.25% and have my third one, which only needs a 20 snap minimum. So I feel like that's where I'm at right now. Oh, I just saw a sick lightning outside. That was dope. Okay. Um, so then I really only need to find uh like someone who's really technically skilled. They only need to play 20 snaps and get that. So I'm down for that. And then I'm doing the same thing for our defense. I'm going with defensive three defensive interior because then I have a deeper DI bench, um, which puts me at an advantage in the long run. Okay. So when I went through and kind of, and I still did, guys, but this 1.1% is something. So I started thinking in terms of age, not just what their PFF score is, but also their age because this is Dynasty. I wanted to think, I thought a little too hard about snap count when I was first doing this because I didn't realize like when you get down to, your wide receiver three, your edge three, stuff like that. I thought, oh, they have to hit that 30 minimum, that 30 minimum. They don't because if they're my wide receiver three or my DI three, whatever, they only have to hit 20. So it does kind of change the game up. There's somebody who's I thinking about specifically. Trevis Gibson, Trevis. And then where was my other dude that I've been kicking around that I'm like, oh, he's so good technically speaking. And I only need if he's my three, I only need him to get Frankie Lovell. Um, this guy right here. I only need him to have 20 snaps, and he is scoring so high in PFF on like really like around 25, 26 snaps. So it's like I'm gonna target him to be if I want to go with a three LB set. But I do I'm targeting this as my scheme just for depth reasons. Doesn't mean that's what I'll do. All right. So I was thinking other folks would have looked at these weights and said, "Yep, I need a good quarterback first and first foremost. Everything else can go to the wayside, doesn't matter. I need my QB1." Now, check out what happened here. Allen, duh. Mahomes, duh. Herbert, duh. Burrow, duh. Now, what in the what are you picking Lamar here for? Because he doesn't score high on PFF. These are weighted out based on their PFF grades. Like, what are we doing, folks? And then somebody took Myles Garrett. Now, granted, edge is the second most important position statistically, but that's a 3% difference right there. That's wild to me. Like, what are we doing? So I'm here at 7. I took Mac Jones, not only because of age, but because he's only going to get better and he's a system QB. And we know who the other good system QB is. Same coaching staff, So, and Rodgers, duh. Now, this is where we get a little nuts here, folks. Why are we taking TJ Watt? What are you doing? Like, he's not that statistic. Like Myles Garrett gives you an edge if you're like an edge for an edge, Like these are elite scores. Like, I'm not saying TJ Watt isn't elite. He is, but you want to have weeks like this with your edge one when you don't even have a quarterback yet? No, you don't. Literally, no, you don't. Okay, so Aaron Donald, he gives you an advantage at the DI position. Bro, this is only 4.96%. So what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, yes, these are extremely high scores, but you know who else has high scores like that? Ryan Tannehill. And he's gonna be that times 9. Look at Kirk Cousins sitting here. Trust me, you want this times 9 rather than anyway. So this is irking me. Then we get to a wide receiver. I'm just so confused. Why are folks drafting? These teams don't have QBs and they're drafting these folks. So then I'm like, okay, I have to change my strategy because they're not drafting the way I anticipated. However, Trent Williams tackle. I do have tackle here because it's the 5-1. Sure, sure, sure. Let's get it like a good tackle, but you still don't have a quarterback. So, I think people were reading the draft board saying, "Let me grab my crux of the dip, folks." I don't understand taking Trey Lance at all. There's no reason to do that. There's just no reason to do that. Um, his score is not going to be high. He's a rusher. Same with Lamar. Why are we doing this? So. Bosa, okay. Again, these teams don't have quarterbacks, so what are they doing? So then Brady comes back to me. Brady has the highest PFF grade. He's going to have the highest scores because he is PFF wise the highest rated quarterback. It's just his age isn't as a disadvantage. Well, I have Mac Jones. I'm going to start Brady this year, obviously, and then move forward with Mac Jones. And it's the perfect 1-2 punch combo at quarterback. I considered because everyone was taking all these positions. I'm like, should I adjust course? But it's like, no, because already all the top edge, I was going to take an edge round two. Doesn't matter. They're all gone. Myles Garrett's who I wanted. Max Crosby, Nick Bosa. I'm pretty sure they had Rashawn. No, he was still there, but it doesn't matter. I'm not taking Rashawn Gary over Tom Brady. It's statistically not a smart choice. Cooper Kupp, sure, great choice. He rates really high, but you do you have a quarterback? Rashawn Slater and some of these later teams I understood. Um, you already have a QB1, but why are we taking like this team? What are you doing, dog? What are you doing? What are you doing? You don't have a QB. I mean, this I get more than this because so I'll show you what I did for round three. I planned to take an edge, but there was a tier break for me. Let's go all the way back to the history. A tier break for me because why are we taking a tight end here, folks? Like it doesn't matter how good he is. He's only gonna get you that times 3. It doesn't make sense. And then Chase Young is highly rated, like according to this system, but he's not gonna play. And look at his scores; they're not even that good. So I went and took Devontae rather than taking my first available edge, which was Von Miller. So he was there and I could have taken him, but Devontae is just a cut above the rest in terms of his grading. So I went ahead and grabbed him. And then, if he'll fall back to me, I'll obviously get him, but I still have so many good edge options. The only reason DeMarcus Lawrence isn't number one, even though his grade is highest, is just because like things have changed around him, and there's the age factor too. I'm worried about Von Miller because he's on the Bills now, but he's gonna get snap mins and he's got good scores, so I'm not really that. He's great for an edge one. So the other wide receivers available at the time, I mean, just don't really compare to where Devontae's at. 92.7. I'd have to settle for, I mean, even if I took Debo, 87, where he was finishing at last year, and this is with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's not Trey Lance. So hello. Um, Diggs I've thought about. Um, and Tyreek, I don't know. I don't know, man. We'll see. But I did feel like Devontae moving over. I mean, look how high Hunter Renfrow scored last year, and he's got Derek Carr. Now we're adding somebody who's already so technically sound, like Devontae Adams, who on a week to week is, it's like that's your lowest score is a three. Whereas if I'm taking Von Miller, it's a bug. Sometimes these click and sometimes these don't, and it irks me. I should just The other thing is you got to manually refresh this sometimes to update the draft, and that does irk me. I did tweet about it because I'm looking for a job as a project manager, and so same with Vaughn, where it's like obviously you're playing against a good O line here, so that makes a little bit of sense, but um, he's the advantage. I don't think he'll get drafted, and I didn't think Devontae Adams would fall back to me, so um, I'm up again relatively soon. Um, and it looks like a lot of folks here are going in defense at this point. I don't know. We'll see. I don't understand folks not grabbing a QB except that it worked for them. Like it just happened to have worked out. Because you still have Stafford, Cousins, Carr, Prescott, Ryan, Wentz. I don't understand not prioritizing. Like, why is Russell Wilson still sitting here? Somebody should grab him. Kyler. So folks are prioritizing positions in a way that I didn't foresee. So this is a lesson learned for me. Um, but I feel really confident because I have my cornerstones. I have Mac Jones and Tom Brady. I'm great with that. I'm not going to reach for an edge position. Uh, it just statistically isn't making sense to me. Granted, there are all these quarterbacks sitting here, but what statistical advantage do you have to not grabbing like the elite? Like I have my future and I have my now. So I'm just having a hard time understanding why folks would make that decision unless they didn't take the time to like dive into the scoring and really understand what's going on. Certainly not how I would have drafted it. Especially taking two wide receivers makes no sense to me. And this choice here, well, but like Lamar Jackson, no. Trey Lance, what are we doing? They're drafting this like it's a redraft league, like rushing upside matters. It literally doesn't matter. Like this player is not going to help you at all. I thought about, oh, if everybody takes all these, maybe I'll take a flyer on Trevor, have him be my QB2, but wow, I mean, not now. I mean, could draft a QB3 at this point and be all and have a nice piece to move, but that's not going to help me win this year. I mean, I guess it could, but um, I have mixed. Oh, he took Tannehill. Okay. See, that was smart. And this is who I had next on my board. I was assuming someone would take Tom Brady. I was assuming one of the clowns that took a wide receiver would oh, 9%, I should grab Tom Brady. That's what I thought they would do with the turnaround, but no. So Tannehill was next for me. Makes sense. Um, and we'll see how it plays out. I'm gonna take Von Miller next if I can. And Cam Jordan sitting here so nice. The problem is this is a win now choice, because of his age. And I do think he'll play for at least two more seasons. So it's not a bad choice. But the other thing to consider is that Davenport missed a good amount of time last year. That could end up helping Cam, like, let's be honest. But it's just something to think about. I like, yeah, I don't know, because he's the age thing. If I'm gonna talk age, I should really walk the walk here. Take DeMarcus Lawrence. This is tough. This is a tough choice. And it is why I ended up going ahead and taking Devontae Adams over an edge, is because there's a lot of good choices left. And I figured Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, and that's really, technically speaking, those were the two um cuts above the rest. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. And the way they're saying this is like just yeah, points wise, they're projecting Devontae way ahead, and that kind of was a tiebreaker for me. Man, Debo looks so nice if he didn't have Trey Lance. It would just be so easy to take him. All right, so yeah, definitely learning stuff. Let's check out the team dashboard to see if they am I able to do anything with my rostered players yet. Let's see. These aren't just mine. I want just my folks. Okay, no, because that's the players tab. So maybe post draft, this should update. Could start plugging people in, which is exciting. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Um, Definitely been exciting. This part was super fun for me. I really liked thinking in terms of like these players as players, not about fantasy points. I play a lot of IDP. I'm on RSO. Um, but it's not about how many big plays can they get, this and that. It's about like, can they be consistent? Like some of it is gonna overlap, right? But then you're gonna have these folks like Colton Miller. I mean, you're not gonna draft a tackle, period. But like these folks don't have any real. You can tell me Shy Tuttle you're gonna put in a IDP league. No, you're not. You know, it's pretty cool to like learn about these other players that you never really thought about. Um, yeah, it might be the only time to draft Demetric Felton, but he's got what it takes. Um, all right, let's see what happens. I'll catch you on the flip.